Hey there. So today we're going to tackle one of the trickiest little puzzles in the English language, prepositions. You know, those tiny words like in and at that can be just so confusing. If you've ever found yourself scratching your head over them, trust me, you are not alone. And we're going to clear it all up right now.
I mean, this is the perfect example, isn't it? Why do we say in Germany, but at the airport? They're both places, right? So what's the deal? This is exactly the kind of thing that stumps so many people, but believe it or not, there's a kind of logic to it.
All right, before we dive into the really tricky stuff, let's start with the good news. Some prepositions, thankfully, are super simple and logical, and that's where we're going to build our foundation.
Okay, so take a look at these. Words like on, under, next to, behind, they're pretty straightforward. Their meaning is direct, it's visual, so they don't usually cause too many problems. Easy enough, right?
Okay, so we've got the easy ones down. But as you probably know, English just loves to keep us on our toes. The second we move away from those basic words, the rules start to feel a little fuzzy. And that brings us right here to the main event, the in versus at puzzle. Now, this is one of the most common points of confusion, and for a really good reason. The logic isn't always obvious, but there is a general pattern that can help us out. So here's the general rule of thumb that honestly works most of the time. We tend to use in for larger, more general spaces. Think about being physically inside the boundaries of something. And we use at for specific points or places that are defined by what you do there. Let's see what that actually looks like.
So for in, I want you to think about containers. It sounds a bit weird, but stick with me. A park, a country, the countryside. These are all large areas that you are physically inside of. You're contained within their borders. That's the key idea for in.
Now for at, see the pattern here? A party, a supermarket, an airport. These are all what we could call activity points. You go to these places for a specific purpose, to socialize, to shop, to learn, to travel. So with at, we're focused on the function of the place, not just the physical space itself.
So, the rule is in for containers and at for activities. Seems pretty helpful, right? And it is. But, well, this is English we're talking about. So, of course, there are exceptions that seem like they were almost designed to break that very rule.
Okay, welcome to the part where the rules get a little bendy. But don't worry, this is the part that confuses literally everyone. Just understanding that it's confusing is half the battle.
This one phrase just explains the whole problem perfectly. A house is a physical building, right? It's a container, so you are in the house. But home? Home is a concept. It's an idea of belonging, a point of being. That's why you are at home. It's a subtle difference, but it's absolutely crucial.
And here are a few more of these tricky pairs that follow that same logic. You're in the shopping center, that's the big building, but you're at the supermarket to do the activity of shopping. You're in the office, the physical room, but you are at work. See? It's that container space versus the concept of the activity.
Okay, so this is probably what you're thinking right now. If the rules have so many exceptions, how on earth are we supposed to remember them all? Do we really just have to memorize hundreds of individual phrases? Well, yes and no. There's a much better way to think about this. So let's shift from the problem to the solution. The real secret isn't finding some perfect, unbreakable rule, because, spoiler alert, one doesn't exist. The real key is to change how you learn these words in the first place. This is the most important thing to get. Stop searching for one master rule that explains everything. Instead, what you need is a new method. The goal is to build that natural, intuitive feeling for what sounds right, just like a native speaker. And that comes from a specific kind of practice.
And it all comes down to these two tips that will honestly make all the difference. Number one, learn in chunks, not single words. And number two, listen, watch, and read as much natural English as you can. Let's break down exactly what that means.
Okay, this is a total game changer. Don't just learn the word work. Learn the entire phrase, the whole chunk, at work. Don't learn the word home. Learn the chunk, at home. When you memorize these phrases as one single unit, your brain automatically connects them. The preposition just becomes a natural part of the place.
And this connects perfectly to the second tip, immersion. The more you listen to podcasts, watch movies, and read books, the more you'll hear these chunks used correctly over and over in a natural context. Your brain is an amazing pattern recognition machine. The more correct examples you feed it, the more a phrase like "at the supermarket" will just start to sound right, and you won't even have to think about the rule.
So the big takeaway here isn't some new rule, but a whole new method. Learn in chunks and immerse yourself in the language. And as you keep learning, I want you to think about this question. Which English words or phrases trip you up the most? Because just recognizing them is the very first step to mastering them.